Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, a podcast focusing on meditation, the near-death experience, and all things spiritual. Hello, this is Jay Spillers with Inspire Me with Jay. My guest today is Monique. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So tell our audience about what you do as a hypnotherapist and what you do in your work.
Absolutely. So, my name is Monique Pliakos. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. And basically, I help people to make it really, really simple. How I do that using hypnotherapy varies. The ways I can help people varies. So, I can help people quit smoking, lose weight, but I can also help them really get in touch with the deeper parts of themselves to find out how to heal, how to improve themselves, how to find what they really need to do or want to do. I can help people get in touch with their higher selves, their spirit guides, guardian angels. I can help people experience past life regressions and find out what happened to them in past lives. And especially if there's any trauma there, how to heal that trauma, leave it in the past life so it doesn't affect them in a current life.
So you do both like a spiritual and practical aspects to hypnotherapy?
Yes. And I like to tell people that you want to look at it as your subconscious instead of your higher self. You can look at it that way. You don't have to be religious or even consider yourself spiritual to access the spiritual aspects of hypnotherapy.
So how would you connect someone with their higher self? How would a session go?
It depends on what we're doing. Often in parts therapy, when we get to the spiritual self part, basically it's often their higher self, but not always. But depending on what we're looking to do, there are times where I ask people to call in their higher self, their spirit guides, their angel, fae, dragons, what have you, whatever, whoever is on their team, call them all in and have one step forward. So if you're looking to access your higher self, you can call your higher self forward. If you're looking to access your spirit guides, you can call them forward and ask to speak with them. They can come in and communicate with you through hypnosis.
So since you believe in the higher self, have you looked into like things like the near-death experience before? Um, do you think a lot of what's going on is the higher self is creating the imagery that you see when you pass on the other side?
I don't know if it's the higher self. With NDEs, there are people who experience that and they use hypnosis to get more of an aspect. Sometimes with past life regression, we'll go into the life between lives. That gives us a lot of information, but you don't actually have to have a near death experience to get close to your higher self. Personally, I accessed my higher self through meditation, just simple meditation. And if that was before I even learned hypnosis and hypnotherapy, I just did it through meditation. But I kind of found a hack, a little way to get if you have trouble with meditation, we can hypnotize you and you can access your higher self that way. You can get answers from yourself, your higher self, but we have the answers inside. We just don't always know how to access it. The way I look at it is our subconscious holds all memory. And there's kind of like, let's say, two buckets. One bucket is stuff we need to know, stuff we need to remember. Then there's the bucket of everything that doesn't really affect us. So we don't really need to remember it all. It's still there. And that's included in past lives. That's included with the life between lives. Like we know everything we need to know. It's just a matter of accessing it. So you don't have to have a near death experience to access it. You can find it through meditation or you can be hypnotized.
So I've talked to different people because I do a lot on meditation and on hypnotherapy, different things like that. It seems like the difference between hypnosis and meditation is more self-guided, and a lot of times hypnosis is more direct and another person is sort of directing you at a certain point. But in terms of your consciousness, you're going to kind of the same place. You're going to a higher state of consciousness where things can go on. What exactly is the difference between hypnosis and meditation? What is their connection?
So essentially, I'm a facilitator. I'm just a guide helping you get there. If you can't access that yourself, what I'm doing is I am taking your conscious mind and making it busy. So it doesn't realize what's going on and it gets distracted. So your subconscious mind can shine through. Some people can meditate easily. When I was younger, I used to think I can't meditate because I didn't know what meditation really was. I thought meditation was what you see on movies and TV. You get in a position and you quiet your mind to the point where you have absolutely no thoughts, no sounds, nothing. And it's just nothingness in your mind. I thought that's what meditation was. And it wasn't till I realized like it's not that. It's just allowing your mind to have the whatever comes forward come forward. So the way I meditate could be totally different for somebody else, and what works for me could be totally different for somebody else. So my personal meditation, I just kind of get quiet. I have my own little method that I do. I just quiet my mind down. I give gratitude, and you get the thoughts of, oh, I got to empty the dishwasher, and it's like, okay, I acknowledge it, and now I'm putting it off to the side. Like, you don't have space here right now. This is for me. So when I meditate, I do allow my mind to kind of go blank, but it's not this strict, stern blankness. I close my eyes, and then I'm a very visual person. So I'll have visions come to me. And then the next thing I know, it's almost like a dream. It's this experience that I'm witnessing in my mind. I get information. As I said, I accessed my higher self and got a lot of information because I just did something that worked for me. And I encourage people with meditation to just try, just get comfortable somewhere quiet. You can have some nice relaxing music going on and just close your eyes and just allow whatever information comes, allow that to come to you and write it down after. Sometimes people get visuals of shapes, images of things, like write it all down because it might come into play later on. Your mind is telling you something. With hypnotherapy, what we're doing is essentially, if you have a hard time with that, you just listen to me talk. And then all of a sudden I'll tell you, imagine this, and I'll start giving instructions and you follow along in your mind, and you don't have to follow to a T. When I was getting hypnotized, the person doing the hypnosis would be saying something, imagine yourself, going deep into hypnosis and just relaxing, going deeper and deeper relaxed. And then in my mind, have this black nothingness, vast nothingness of black. And then I'm free falling down. And that's my going deeper and deeper. There's somewhere I'm on a dragon and I'm like on the dragon, writing it down. And then I jump off the dragon, diving into nothingness. And that brings me deeper because it's fun and it works for me. So your conscious mind is getting busy. So your subconscious can come through. So that's kind of how hypnosis and hypnotherapy helps in terms of getting to that state. And also, once you're in there, helping people, guide them to find what they need. A lot of times, like, anyone can put somebody in hypnosis, but it's what you do when you get there that's really important. Guided meditations, people can listen to that. It's very similar to hypnotherapy, but often it's learning the person. That's why I like one-on-one hypnotherapy. How does this person's mind work? Not everyone is visual. Some people, they close their eyes and imagine they don't see anything. Are they more auditory? Is it just a feeling or knowing of something? Is it they can physically feel things? When you say, like, imagine yourself at a beach, the ocean waves crashing against the shore, your feet barefoot, barefoot feet are in the sand, toes are in the sand. You might actually feel the sand in your toes. You might hear the waves crashing or the salty ocean air around you. So everyone is different. And part of that is realizing how people's minds work so you can help them get the best experience possible.
So like hypnotherapy and then guided meditation would be really close. It's just you're able to tailor it specifically to the person, because when you're doing a guided meditation, you kind of have to be general. which you may end up getting a lot of the
Mhm.
same results, but you don't have that specific tailoring that you would with hypnotherapy.
But also with hypnotherapy, we're going deeper. A guy, it's almost like think of where your mind is. You want to go into hypnosis. You have to go really deep. Like guided meditation brings you to such a point. With hypnotherapy and hypnosis, because you're working with somebody who knows what they're doing, hopefully, they're going to take you even deeper than that. So when I put somebody into hypnosis, they're going to be relaxed. And what I'm looking for are body cues. So I always tell somebody you want to have a comfortable chair or you can lay down because you're going to sink back. Your body is going to start to sink in, shift. I'm watching for a rapid eye movement. I'm watching your breathing. There's all these different things that I'm looking for so I can see how deep are you. So you can do a general guided hypnosis and those work great. I've had lots of people use because I do have it available on my website where you can just get it's like a guided hypnotherapy session, but it's general. It's not custom tailored. You can do that and have great results, but it depends on each individual person. A lot of times people need that one-on-one to really light up that spark to open the doors for their mind.
Is there sort of a danger that as you're going really deep, the person might just fall asleep? You have to do certain things.
It's not a danger. It's not a danger, but it does happen where people are just so comfortable and so relaxed, they do fall asleep. What I'm saying is processing in their mind, but I like to have back and forth. It's a conversation with people in hypnosis. So all I do is I'll just say their name. So I might say, I want you to take a deep breath and I'll watch. And if you're not taking that deep breath, and that deep breath might be very subtle, but if you're doing it on command, I can see, okay, we still have something going on, or I can ask a question. But if you're not responding or you're not doing something on command, like taking a deep breath, I might think, okay, they might be asleep. So I'll say, Jay, and wait for you to respond. Jay, can you answer me? And it's just calling the name that will bring people up just enough. Because being in hypnosis, it's like a wave. There are different levels. You're aware. Then there's awareness where you feel like I'm totally aware, but you're actually going into hypnosis. Then it's like, yep, deep, comfortable, relaxed. And then there's, wait a minute. Oh, she said something. I should probably pay attention to this. So there are different levels and it goes up and down. So you can be more aware. And then next thing you know, totally deep, comfortable, thinking, oh, wait, yeah, I got to pay attention, can come up, go down. So it's different levels and different states, and it's different for every individual.
Do a lot of times you have conversations with them and ask them questions that they respond to?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my style of hypnotherapy is interactive. I like to, and again, it depends on what the person needs, but a lot of it is, for example, we might do parts therapy. I mentioned we get in touch with the physical aspect of yourself, the mental, intellectual aspect, the emotional, and then the spiritual aspect. So I am saying to the client, what do you notice? What appears before you? What does the physical you look like? What do they need? And the client is telling me what they're getting. When we get to the spiritual part, I usually talk to the spiritual one directly. So that way I can find out, what does this person need? But not only what do they need, but how do we realistically get there for them? Because, for example, meditation is a big one that people are told they should be doing to help them. And so the client says, I've tried meditating. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And their spiritual self is saying, you need to meditate. Okay, well, we know they don't want to do it and they don't like to do it. So how can we realistically get them to start doing that? And, I had one client whose spiritual self said, start going for 10-minute walks. And as you're walking, because the neighborhood was a safe place to walk, as you're walking, just let your mind go. Just quietly see what you notice. Look around, take stuff in. Don't listen to music. Don't be thinking about everything you have to do. Start there. And from there, go home. Once you do that for a few weeks, go home and then quietly just sit down, start thinking about your walks, start thinking about trees. And it's just like the spiritual self is giving step-by-step instructions on how this person can get there to improve themselves. So we'll have a three-way conversation with that person and myself. And that actually happens also for calling in spirit guides, even angels. We can have a three-way conversation, but then channeling also occurs where that self is just coming right through the person talking directly. And that's happened with higher self. It's happened with guides, angels. So there's different ways you can utilize a conversation with yourself, parts of yourself, or other beings.
Hmm. So, because I noticed like when I used to do meditation, I would get like sort of those words of wisdom, and I thought it was God, and it seemed like it was kind of outside of me. But then the past few years, it
Mhm.
seems like it just comes from within me. Is that a common thing that eventually it just starts coming, sounding like it's coming from within you, a deeper part?
So with general connecting with different, like our higher selves, our guides, oftentimes the information feels like our thoughts. The more you do it, people often say, I can start to differentiate my thoughts from my higher self or from my guides. So I think that comes along with practice and just how you get used to knowing what's you and what's not you. So with meditation, you have to do that work. With hypnotherapy, we're getting everything right there. So it's kind of cutting out some of the work. There's still
Hmm.
work that has to be done, but it's makes it easier for people who have trouble. Another thing that I often do is when we're accessing a higher self or a spirit guide, we might, I might ask a question like, is this person, are they intuitive? Or this person seems to struggle with knowing when to go with their gut feeling or knowing something is coming from a higher self telling them the direction to go in. Can we give them a physical sensation so they know I need to pay attention to this? It's not my mind trying to overanalyze something or making it up. So we can get a physical sensation in the body. So when that person, for example, gets an itch on the back of their hand, they know, okay, wait a minute, this is my higher self, or this is my guides. This is coming to me for a reason, and I need to go with this. So we can help people access that if it's needed.
Hmm. What do you personally think of the higher self as like the divine aspect of yourself? Is it your God part, if you will?
I look at personally the higher self as the part of the soul that's been around, knows what's going on, knows what's going to happen. One time when I was in hypnosis, I was able to experience, I'm trying to think of how to word it. It, it was basically, I was getting in touch with my soul, not my higher self, but just my soul. And I saw before us, it was, you have source, God, and it was like these tethers, like a spider web string almost connecting all of us together, everyone and everything. And so there are parts of yourself that are strung out. So there's parts from your past, parts from your future, your connection to your higher self that is just a part of you pulled out. And then there are these tethers to everything and everyone. So it was mind blowing to be like, we really are all connected, and seeing how parts of yourself expand and can be different. And then parts of you that are just tethered to everything else being all connected. So I think the higher self is a part of your soul, just connected to you, but separate. So it's something that we can attain being in touch with, but it's not just there for us to access easily for most people.
Well, a lot of times when people come in for things like, I want to stop smoking or I have anxiety, you deal with those issues and then ask them if they would be interested in looking at the spiritual connections and
No,
looking at that.
no, what I do is I give anyone who's interested in an appointment, you get a free 20-minute consult. That's where I find out what you're looking for. I'm not going to offer something if you don't want it. So if you want to come to me to quit smoking and you don't care about the spiritual self, I can help you with that. The issue is, I mean, we have in hypnotherapy what we call scripts. So it's basically what we say written down that we can tailor to better help the individual. So I can do a script like that I have to help you stop smoking, but that won't always work. And it won't always work because we need to find out the root cause of what's going on. Somebody might be smoking not because they're just addicted to nicotine or the habit of smoking, but there could be something else going on. So sometimes people need more, and you don't have to get necessarily spiritual to help them with that. But people do find that spirituality of a part of themselves that they connect with and they learn from, or they have to heal. So losing weight, that could come from trauma. So if you're not losing weight for some reason, I could hypnotize you and tell you something that should change your mindset to help you want to lose weight. But there could be something more deep going on that's worth investigating and finding out what's the root cause of this. Why are you having trouble losing weight? So it's a matter of finding out what the person really needs to help them, tailoring their session to what they need. If it is something that, comes out that, I feel like everything comes out for a reason. So during their session, if something comes out, spiritual, say, talking about guides, higher self, we'll go with that. But it doesn't always happen. And I'm not going to push that issue on anybody.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like with losing weight, is the issues sometimes if it's beyond just cravings, is it that they self-sabotage or that their body holds on to weight because of trauma?
Well, that's what we need to find out during the session because everybody is different. Some
Mm.
people, it's a medical thing they don't realize. And then they discover it in hypnosis that my thyroid is low and this is why. And then they go to the doctor and they get their thyroid tested and it's low. And they need something to help them, whether it's herbs or medicine of some type to help get their thyroid in balance. So it's not. So for every single person, it's individual as to why. So it's not just everyone can't lose weight because of this. It's every person is unique and different.
Mm-hmm. How long does a session usually last? Like an hour, maybe, or?
It varies. I do my sessions. I have general hypnotherapy session, which you are given 2 hours. It could be done in 45 minutes. We could take the full 2 hours. We might go over 2 hours. I'm not the kind of person that says, oh, we're in a session. Oh, wait, your time's up, even though we're really getting something. I'm not going to say, oh, sorry, time's up. All right, I'm going to count to 5. When I get to 5, your eyes are going to open and I emerge from hypnosis. It's like, I'm not really watching the clock. I'm looking at what we're doing. What's the information that we're getting? So again, it's each person. If we get everything we need and it's done in 45 minutes, an hour, okay. If we have to go an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I'm going to keep going until we can together figure out what's going on and what do we need to do. And does it seem like this person received the help that they need?
How long does it usually take to get results? I mean, it probably varies, but
It does. I mean, most of my clients within one session have tremendous results. I had a client who had almost crippling anxiety. It was like this vicious circle of she'd be anxious about something and then something would happen and she'd freeze up. And it was trying to combat that. So I did a session with her. I also did a guided hypnotherapy that I made for her and sent it to her. But with the work that we did in that one session, a few weeks later, she messaged me saying that the anxiety is nothing like it was. She was going to work. She was going to be late because there was traffic. And instead of having that crippling panic attack, she was able to just listen to music and enjoy her ride. So knowing like, I'll get there when I get there. There's an accident. There's nothing I can do about it. So it was, and I have to say, she did the work. People who do the work get the results. So if the information coming to you is saying, well, you have to do this, you need to do this, and you're not going to do that, well, you can't expect those results. You have to do the work to improve yourself. So if that information is coming to you during a hypnotherapy session saying you need to walk every day, or you need to drink more water, or you need to meditate, or whatever it might be, you're the one who has to do that work. I can't do that for you. So your results are dependent upon the work that you put into it as well.
Hmm. So even when someone recovers from like anxiety, do you usually give them something to do like meditation to keep it going so it doesn't resurface like a year later? Or
I don't, it's them. They're the ones getting the information on what they need to do. So their minds are telling them, or their higher self, or whatever it is they're getting, or whoever they're getting the information from, they're being told what they need to do. So I've had sessions where it's like, yeah, they're going to have to do this too. It's step by step. We'll get there. Okay. But it's not on me to tell people, follow up, do this. I always follow up with clients, but it's not my job to chase after them and make sure they're doing what they need to do. It's really the individual person and what they feel they need to do, or what they got during the session. And are they doing what they need to do? If somebody does feel like, hey, it's creeping back, we can absolutely do another session, no problem. But it's not on me to pursue that. It's up to each person.
Mhm. Do you have a
I'm not pushy.
yeah? Do you have a specific technique that you use within hypnotherapy?
For what? For induction or for accessing information?
Yeah, I mean anything. Do you have like a particular type of hypnotherapy that you practice?
Well, I I don't have a specific type of hypnotherapy, but I have a way that I do it. I write my own scripts for a lot of stuff. So my induction, I wrote myself to help people get into hypnosis, and it seems to work very well. I have my own little methods. Before I start a session, I cleanse my room. I cleanse the room and I pull crystals because I work with crystals, and I pull crystals. I have the regular ones that I use, a lot of protective crystals, because I myself get into a meditative state and I open myself up. I ask my guides connect with the client's guides as long as it's within the client's highest good, and to help bring information to help my client as best as possible. So while I'm doing that, I'll also pull crystals like before I begin, just off the feeling I get. What crystals do I need for this session? So it's always different for people. I cleanse everything. I connect with my guides. I talk to my client, and when they're ready, we begin the process. And as I'm doing the hypnotherapy, I myself am getting in a meditative state as well. So I feel that helps keep me connected to the client and know where to push and where not to push, and know essentially like where we should go next based off the feelings that I'm getting.
Hmm. How long have you been doing hypnotherapy?
About 3 years now.
Hmm. So,
Yeah. So I started a little later in life, but I started reading tarot when I was 19, and then I learned about orgonite. I started making orgonite, and I just thought, like, I feel like I'm lacking. I just want to help people, and I feel like I'm lacking something. I'm missing a key component for how I can help others. And then I watched a documentary about Michael Newton and past life regression and life between lives and hypnotherapy, and it clicked, like, this is what I need to do. This was a missing piece. So I started studying it and reading about it. And then I started training and I went for my certification. I trained for general hypnotherapy and past life regression. So I started with reading and practicing hypnotizing my husband and people I knew, and then in training, and then going on to build a business to do it. So it's one of those things where I finally feel like I found that missing piece of what I should be doing to help others.
hmm, is a lot of your work in past life regression?
Um, it's 50-50. I do a lot of stuff to help an individual. So I do offer past life regression. It's not always to help people. Some people just want to have that experience and know what was the past life like. But we're also going to do work while we're in there. We're going to find out, what was your purpose in this life or purposes? And did you do what you were supposed to do? And was there something you didn't do that maybe you should have done? And so we get information. So we find out really cool stuff because a lot of times it seems as though what happens in past lives can affect us today. And a lot of past life traits that people hold are similar. So a lot of my past lives, I was connected to nature and I was a healer and helping people. And that trait holds through with me today. And you see that with people in their past lives and similarities, because I personally think it's our soul. It's just the traits of our soul that shine through in each life, regardless of the situation we're in, man, woman, or whatever we do. There's still that part that's always us.
Well, I think I've seen interviews with Michael Newton where he was talking about past life regression, and he was saying that it could take like 6 hours to get into a past life regression with someone. Does it sometimes take that long?
So, where I trained for past life regression, they were saying about 4 hours to do a past life regression. I've learned it doesn't necessarily take that long. With hypnotherapy, the more you get into hypnosis, the quicker and easier it is each time after. So I send my clients an audio recording for a guided hypnotherapy practice. So basically, it's just you're listening to me to go into hypnosis, go to a safe place, and come out of hypnosis. So people kind of get that practice. It allows them an opportunity to see if my voice and the way I talk mesh with the person. It gives them a chance to practice, to listen to it, get a feeling of what it's like to go into hypnosis, experience the safe place, and come out. And then when we have the session, it helps it be quicker and easier for them to get into hypnosis with me. We go to a few childhood regressions. So we'll have you start just by regressing in your life, going to childhood. Go to a couple, 2, 3 happy childhood memories. Then we have you regress back to when you were a fetus in your mother's womb, and we do some work there. And from there, we go into a past life. I've done past life regression where it's taken an hour and a half for somebody, and somebody else will take close to 3 hours or 4 hours. It depends on the information we're getting. Because like I said, I'm not going to say, time's up, let's go. Let's explore. We're here. Let's explore. Some people I've learned get blocks, and often it's because they don't want to face what's coming to them. So I learned to tell my clients, if anything comes up that you don't want to face, that you don't want to say out loud, just tell me, yeah, I'm getting something, but I don't want to deal with that. Or I got something, but I don't want to say it out loud. That way I know as the guide, oh, okay, you are getting something though. So let's move somewhere else then if you're not ready for that. That actually saves time from people saying, I have nothing. I don't know. It's black. Okay. Well, if you did know, what would it be? And having to pull it from people, because people do sometimes have a hard time. And you have to give them time, and you have to think of alternate ways to get their mind to open up to it. So I might do something where they'll say, I see something, but it's really out of focus. And I'll say, well, in your pocket, you have these special glasses that when you put them on, it brings everything you need to see into focus. So why don't you pull those glasses out of your pocket and put them on and allow everything to come into focus? And it's things like that that just help that person. And it's like, oh yeah, it works. So it's just that power of suggestion to help them get what they need. So it's a matter of distinguishing with people. Is it a block, or are they just having a hard time getting something? And sometimes it just takes a little time. And with past life regression, there's so much that we're looking into that can take extra time. So It can vary, but it can be very quick, especially with people who go into hypnosis quickly, who get very visual or they know what they're getting and they can convey it quickly. So again, it depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like to rush people because being hypnotized and having somebody rush you is very uncomfortable. So I don't like to do that to other people.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a lot of the issues like trauma, addiction, even anxiety. There's a lot of times that go back to past life issues.
It can. Often though, it's this life. There's a lot of childhood trauma that we don't realize. That's why I love inner child work, where you get a chance to talk to your inner child. You get to help them. What do they need? Give them what they need. I actually do something, I call it inner child too, where once you've gone through the work of connecting and trying to help your inner child heal or heal yourself, you can then play with them, play games, sing, dance, have fun with your inner child, because we live in such a day and age where everything seems so serious. There's always something going on, and it's hard to escape and just have fun. And then when you want to have fun, there's those that make you feel guilty for wanting to have fun. And that's why it's so important that you let your inner child out to play and have fun and laugh and enjoy life, because a lot of people forget to do that. And I consider that part of self care, allowing yourself to have fun and not feel guilty about it.
Well, is that usually where a lot of people have to go is back to their inner child and work in that arena to get healing?
It's not necessarily they do. Everyone's different. I notice a lot of people who do inner child feel better after, and it gives them some perspective. I had one client who, during the inner child part of the session, didn't realize the fear of her father. Her father wasn't abusive, but he was very stern and very strict and would yell. And there was that fear. And she realized that fear during her session. And that illuminated things to help her. So, again, I feel everything that comes forward in a session is coming forward for a reason. And it's setting us on the path to where we need to go to help, if that's what the person needs, if they need healing, if they had trauma, whatever it is, it will come out. And it's just a matter of following that thread, seeing where it goes so we can help the person. I had a person during a Gestalt therapy session in hypnosis go into spontaneous past life regression. But everything from the safe place to the Gestalt therapy, everything that was coming forward all led to this past life where we got so many answers about why this person is the way that they are. So if that information needs to come out, it will come out in any way it needs to.
So, where can people get a hold of you if they want to get in touch with you? And have you written any books or do you have any projects that you've done?
So I haven't written any books. It's so funny because there's so many people who write books, but I'm not really a writer when it comes to that. I am more of a creative writing with hypnotherapy and scripts and things of that nature. So I don't have any books, but you can find me at my website, innerstandingshypnosis.com. So it's INNERSTANDINGS And the reason why my business is Inner Standings Hypnosis is because my husband and I actually have a podcast, and we did an episode on words and their meaning. And one of the words that came up was understand. And when you understand, it's standing under. And we think about how people use that. Do you understand me? Do you understand this? I don't stand under anybody to take in information. I take information and I hold it within and see what resonates with me. And if it resonates, it stays within me. So we understand.
I was so happy that we had a guest today. And if you'd like to reach Monique, go to innerstandinghypnosis.com. The link is at the bottom. And don't forget to check out my new book, Walk as Children of the Light, a devotional for life. Also, like, subscribe, and share. It does help the channel to grow. And hit the bell icon to be notified of new content.